Kendy saw a wounded man running towards her direction. Not far from the man was some warriors running after him with weapons in their hands. As the wounded man fell down and could not move anymore, the enemy warriors have reached him. Kendy sensed that the man was in danger. With her animal companions at her side, she emerged from the shadow of the trees with a fierce roar. Her animal friends rallied to her side as she bravely rescued the wounded man from his enemy. Please subscribe to our channel. It costs you nothing, but it means a lot to us. Once upon a time, in a faraway African kingdom, there ruled a noble King Ayu, esteemed for his wisdom and valor. His realm was blessed with lush forests, sweeping savannas, and shimmering rivers. Yet, his court was full of treachery and deceit. The king had two wives, the senior wife named Queen Taika, and the junior wife named Queen Abiya, each with separate fates, enjoying the living in abundance as the life of royal family. Queen Taika, though respected, have no child for the royal family. Her heart ached with longing for a child to carry on the lineage. However, Queen Abiya gave birth to twin baby girls, a blessing celebrated throughout the kingdom. But joy turned to sorrow when Queen Taika, consumed by jealousy and fear of losing her status. Fearing the loss of her position, she conspired with the cunning prime minister to kill one of the twin princesses. They claimed that the girl would bring ruin upon the village in the future. Together, they convinced the king's cabinet that she is evil and deserves to die young. Under the cloak of night, King Ayu, torn between his love for his family and his duty as a ruler, but yielded to their nefarious scheme. With heavy heart and tearful eyes, Queen Abiya watched as her beloved daughter was taken away to be killed in the dark forest. Into the depths of the dense forest, where shadows danced with whispers of ancient spirits, a loyal warrior was sent to kill the baby girl in dark forest. But his warrior-hardened heart crumbled, softened by compassion, could not bear the thought of killing an innocent baby girl of royal blood. Instead, he left the little princess alive in the dark for it to be killed by wild beasts. Days turned to weeks, weeks to months, months to years, seasons over seasons. After a decade, in the thickest part of the jungle, there was a pretty young woman called Kendy, living as a creature of the jungle, mastered the animals' language and living in harmony with wild animals' ways. Living wild and free, roaming the jungle like a mythical guardian. She danced among the trees, her laughter echoing through the forest as she played with her loyal companions, the majestic lion and the gentle elephant. She knew no sorrow, living like an over-pampered princess in the midst of the untamed animals. One fateful day, Kendy and her companions were playing, as they were basking in the sunlight through the canopy of the tall trees in the jungle. Suddenly, Kendy saw a wounded man running towards her direction. Not far from the man was some warriors running after him with weapons in their hands. As the wounded man fell down and could not move anymore, the enemy warriors have reached him. Kendy sensed that the man was in danger. With her animal companions at her side, she emerged from the shadow of the trees with a fierce roar. Her animal friends rallied to her side as she bravely rescued the wounded man from his enemy. On sighting the animal's force, the enemy warriors took to their heels without looking back. Kendy nursed the wounded man back to health, the man found himself indebted to this mysterious woman. After few days, she accompanied him out of the jungle to his place of living. Kendy was not aware of the world beyond the trees. At the gate of the kingdom, they came across some warriors guarding the kingdom entrance gate. On sighting the wounded man, the warriors kneeled down as sign of respect to the man. The wounded man is Prince Koku, the only son of King Bonga and Queen Nana of Peri Kingdom. As Prince Koku and Kendy continue on their way to the palace, people started to whisper, "Who is this girl dressing in cloth made of leaves?" And Kendy was also surprised because that is her first time to see so much people like herself in a place. While the prince busy addressing his people, Kendy took off and ran all the way back to the jungle. In the palace, King Bonga and Queen Nana were so happy for miraculous return of their one and only son after the war. Yet, in the midst the jubilations, a visitor arrived from the neighboring kingdom, a princess named Tandy from Ojuju Kingdom, betrothed to the prince by the laws of diplomacy. She came with a retinue of servants, her presence filling the opulent halls with an air of formality. Reluctantly, the Prince Koku honored his duty and showed his betrothed Princess Tandy around the palace grounds. But his heart remained restless, drawn to the untamed beauty he had encountered in the depths of the forest. As the days passed, the Princess Tandy and her entourage made themselves at home in the palace. They dined on sumptuous feasts, attended lavish balls, and explored the sprawling gardens surrounding the royal residence. Finally, the day came for the Princess Tandy to bid farewell and return to her own kingdom. With a flurry of activity, her retinue packed their belongings and departed, leaving the palace once more in silence. Meanwhile, Kendy, out of curiosity and the counsel of her loyal companions, frequently ventured beyond the confines of the jungle, and always end up in Peri Kingdom, where people always refer to her as the Jungle Girl. Unaccustomed to the ways of men, she preferred talking and playing with the domestic animals like goats, horse, dogs, even rats. So, people always wondered what type of girl is this. One day, Kendy visited Peri Kingdom as usual. She came across a scene of distress, a magnificent horse riding in agony. With a shard of broken glass lodged in its hoof, the noble creature whinnies of pain echoing through the street, Kendy approached the horse with skilled hands. She coaxed the horse into stillness, murmuring soothing words in a language only the animals understood. She extracted the offending shard of broken glass from the horse's hoof, relieving its suffering. As Kendy turned to leave, the horse followed her, much to the dismay of royal horsekeeper. Frantic, the keeper started looking for the horse, fearing the wrath of the king. Eventually, he found the horse playing joyfully with Kendy. Enraged by jealousy, he accused Kendy of stealing the horse of the prince. The horsekeeper went to the palace and returned with a contingent of palace guards. With brute force, they descended upon Kendy. Their blows rained down like thunder upon her as she was beaten and dragged before the king's court, accused of crimes she did not commit. On the day of the judgment, the king, swayed by false accusations, ordered her execution by beheading. But word spread through the animal kingdom, began by the rat who happened to be under the king's chair when the king passed the death sentence on Kendy trial. The rat ran throughout the palace door, weaving through the guard's legs until it reached the outskirts of the palace and saw a cat. The rat told the cat about the king's order of beheading the jungle girl. The cat quickly dashed out and jumped from one roof to another with its keen eye. He saw a dog and beckoned to it. The cat told the dog about the king's order of beheading the jungle girl. The dog sprinted forward, running at its maximum speed, its back echoing through the street like a clarion call. Until the eagle reckoned to its call. The dog told the eagle about the king's order of beheading the jungle girl. The eagle soared above on outstretched wings, its keen eyes scanning the landscape below. With a piercing cry, it signaled to the jungle, calling forth the snake from the jungle. The eagle told the snake about the king's order of beheading the jungle girl. The snake sped up through the ground like a moving train, its scales shimmering in the sunlight. With a flick of its tongue, it whispered to the monkey. The snake told the monkey about the king's order of beheading the jungle girl. The monkey swung from branch to branch. With each swing, it chattered and called, alerting the jungle of the impending danger. And stopped at the lion den. The monkey told the lion about the king's order of beheading the jungle girl. The lion, king of beasts and guardian of the forest, with a mighty roar, he commanded all the animals to action, his mane a fiery beacon of courage and resolve. Together, they formed an unlikely alliance, their voices raised in a chorus of defiance against injustice. From the depths of the forest to the lofty heights of the palace, their message rang clear and true. They carried the message of hope from one end of the forest to the other end of the palace. They spread word of the jungle lady's plight until reached the ears of the prince. Being brave and kind, the prince couldn't let that happen to his savior. As the prince raced against time to save the candy from her unjust fate, he rushed to the village square, where they were going to behead her, and stop them. With a single word, he stopped the executioner's blade and told everyone that it wasn't right to treat his friend that way. With tears of gratitude and joy, the jungle girl hugged her friend, Prince Koku, tightly. It was a really special moment because it showed how important it is to stand up for what's right and to help your friends. This is just the beginning. To be continued.